Good morning. It is Thursday, May 25th, 2005. What year is this? 2017. This is your Island Blader speaking. Here's what's happening. All right. I made a post yesterday on my Facebook about the NBA versus the NHL. Let me say this. When I was 7 years old, obviously when you're 7 years old, you get very curious about things in life, as I was growing up, of course, like I said, my love for sports developed. It started with hockey when the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in '94, and I got hooked to the sport. Another thing I got hooked on was basketball. I used to have the days of playing NBA Jam and everything else. And of course, living in New York, I was exposed a lot to the Knicks. And the Knicks, because they were good back then in the days of Ewing and Starks and everything else, they were often exposed on national TV on Sundays with the NBA on NBC. And man, those were the glory days. The Knicks, Pacers, the Knicks playing the Bulls, the Knicks playing Miami in the late 90s. You had the stuff in the West when you had the Jazz and the Lakers. And even though the 80s were dominated by the Celtics and whatever, still Celtics, Lakers. Man, but you know what was great about that, though? The matchups the matchups were physical. The matchups were nasty, and they left it all out on the court, unlike nowadays. Nowadays, with the NBA, there's just no competition anymore with the NBA. And I've been saying it, for the last few years, and now it's really happening this year, but there is no competition in the NBA anymore. In fact, it's got to the point you might as well not even play the first two rounds of the playoffs, because it's been uncompetitive. There's only been one Game 7 in this entire playoffs for one. And honestly, I really haven't watched. And, for a league that's supposed to be global, it's trying to reach itself around, let me tell you something, it's US TV audience. I mean, good luck trying to generate. I mean, listen, I love to play basketball. I will, always, open to play some pickup ball if I'm at the park shooting around or whatever. I enjoy playing basketball with my buddies and what have you, although these 30-year-old legs ain't getting any, But besides the point, those were the days, but now it's like, you got, guys teaming up like what LeBron did, teaming up with, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Can you imagine back then in the days of Ewing and Jordan, Reggie Miller, who else is that during that time? Karl Malone, those guys. Can you, who's another one? Grandmama, Larry Johnson, more. Can you see Shaq, even Shaq? Can you imagine seeing any of those guys teaming up, try and win a championship? Could you ever see that happening back then, some 20, even 30 years ago? No, you wouldn't. Come on, man. I understand, before last year, LeBron always fell short. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I mean, come on, man. It takes going to Miami, teaming up with Wade and Bosh to form this super team that, I know in the first year they didn't get it done, but I mean, come on, man. In a small way, that's the easy way out of things. That's finding the easy way out. You're trying to lead a team. Come on, man. That's the easy way out. I mean, obviously the way it happened wasn't very popular, but still. But then again, it's no surprise when you do stuff on ESPN, when an hour of SportsCenter is devoted to 45 minutes of LeBron James. Everything else they broadcast is a footnote, because we all know SportsCenter doesn't show highlights anymore. It's gotten, ESPN in itself's gotten politically correct, and then SportsCenter in itself, all the LeBron butt kissing, and it's not even, hockey is barely even a footnote. Baseball, football, when it is football season, but the LeBron butt kissing is just too much, and it got pretty lame duck after a while. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's just no competition anymore. For the third straight year, it's gonna be Golden State against Cleveland for the NBA championship. It's no fun. It's like. Okay, but you get the point. But like, it's like, who cares? I understand in the Eastern Conference, it's just not the same. I mean, look, Boston, number one overall seed. I mean, come on, they're getting killed, man. Got destroyed at home 2 games in a row. But be that as it may. But all else though, there's just no competition in basketball anymore. It's just not the same game. You know, nowadays it's just kind of like you do this, tap, foul, crying to the right, it's a foul, man. You know, that's all it is now these days. You know, I understand. You know, I live on the East Coast where basketball hasn't exactly been, it hasn't exactly been popular. I mean, you know, the Knicks, the Nets, down here with the Sixers, here in the South, ain't nobody care about the Sixers, man. Barely do you see any Sixers apparel. That's saying a lot, you know. But yeah, like, you know, there's just, it's boring. I'm sorry. Like, not many people I know have even given an ounce of attention to the playoffs, you know. No, I haven't. You know, I've seen it in bits and pieces, only if there's a TV right there. I mean, I know the rules, but all else outside of that, I have not paid a single, I have really not paid attention to these playoffs. I haven't. I just go by what people post. That's it. And then you have hockey. Okay. Well, okay, before I go to hockey, I mean, you know what? The way how uncompetitive these playoffs have gotten in the NBA, you know what? You know, as for these playoff teams, these lower seeds, especially, you might as well call it a 4-game extension to their season, because that's what it basically is. You basically play 4 games in, right out the door. You've got the NHL. The NHL, those guys have heart, man. They try. You don't see these guys taking days off, resting just because, if you have everything locked up like there's no other, I understand that. But when you're in the middle of the regular season, you have guys taking off. That's ridiculous. That is really ridiculous. You go to the NHL, where these guys play with heart, man, and I'm not being biased at all. I mean, everybody in the NHL, even when some people say no, everybody has a chance. It's competitive. It's no guarantee that the 1 seed is going to slaughter the 8th seed. In fact, why don't you ask the Chicago Blackhawks this year of 2017 what happened, when they're the number 1 seed overall in the Western Conference? Some team going to the Stanley Cup Finals at 8th seed called the Nashville Predators, they're playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. Opponent to be decided after tonight. Whether it's Pittsburgh or Ottawa. I'll tell you one thing, I'd probably cheer for Nashville. But obviously I'm not as interested, obviously, with the Rangers not there, but whatever. It's ridiculous it's ridiculous. I mean, those guys play with some heart, man. Hockey doesn't get enough credit. It's only seen for the violence. It's only seen for the violence, as if football isn't violent, and so on. Like, those guys, come on. Only game with personnel changes during action as the clock is running. These guys could skate backwards. It doesn't have to require all these opportunities. It doesn't require all this scoring. And sometimes the defensive games, the 1-0 and the 2-1 games, are some of the better games, to be honest. The defensive effort and the drama. And like I said, there are no promises that, the higher seeds are going to, overtake the lower seeds with no problem. There is no guarantees with that. But, and those guys play with some heart, man. Those guys play with heart. You can't say that about the NBA. You cannot. Sure, you have guys like Sidney Crosby always whining to the refs, but then again, no one likes the Pittsburgh Penguins, outside of Pittsburgh, that is. But all else, man, I love hockey. Those guys play, man. Those guys play with some heart. I mean, back then, the NBA used to be competitive. No guarantees, but now, forget it. The NHL is so competitive. I love it. Like I said, there's no promise. Like I said, there's no promises that anyone's coasting to the Stanley Cup. The Los Angeles Kings of 2012, they were the number 8 seed, and you know what? They got to the cup. They won the cup, and you know what? They did it with ease, man. They did it with. I mean, they were dismantling these higher seed opponents like it was nothing. Okay. like, it's like, what on earth did they do? Like, what on earth happened? But that's part of the game. That's hockey. It's competitive. It's competitive. There's no guarantee. You've got stars in the league like Alex Ovechkin who can't advance. With his Washington Capitals, they can't advance past the second round of the playoffs. Oh man, whoa, an accident. Whoa. Oh, poor lady in her PJs. Ugh, no fun. Anyway, yeah, kind of. That's why I would never wear my PJs in public. I'm sorry, but anyway, guys like Alex Ovechkin who can't get out of the second round. Once again, happened again. The Caps get to round 2, can't get out of, lose to Pittsburgh. Sidney owns Ovechkin, right? No, but again, it's competitive though. Game 7 in Washington, they can't win. Like I said, man, I don't believe in home advantage anything. Field, court, ice, whatever. I don't believe in that. But still, man, I mean, like I said, I love hockey. Hockey is exciting. Hockey is like, that's why I love hockey. No one's guaranteed anything, okay? Upsets happen. Upsets can happen. Just because you're a number 1 seed don't mean nothing. Don't mean a thing. Sometimes teams are overmatched. For the most, they are. Teams can be. The Chicago Blackhawks in this tournament this year, Chicago Blackhawks were the only team who didn't win a playoff game. Everything else at least went to 5 games in that first round. Yeah, no one got swept. Nobody did. In fact, that first round was pretty darn competitive among the rest of the series, to be honest with you. But still, you gotta love the competition and the intensity that it brings. You do. That's what makes the game so much fun. They play with heart. You can't see, hockey players play with heart. They leave it out there all on the ice. Nope. Basketball, oh, let's take the day off. Oh, I can't. Let's all, like I said, make it, and I don't even know what more to say. All I know is that I love hockey and I enjoy playing. I enjoy, watching the sport. It's fun, so much more fun than the NBA. The NBA is a joke. And another thing, college basketball. That's basketball right there, man. Those guys are competitive. Those guys have the heart, and especially they play with defense. You wonder why you see games end 70 to 65, 70s and 60s and whatever? Because they play with defense, they play with heart, and March Madness is the best thing because you either show up or you don't. Show up or your season's over. Any given day is March Madness, and it's great. But that's what that's what's the best part of it. That's March Madness, and that's real basketball. The NHL play, and they've been saying for a while actually that the NHL playoffs tend to outdo the NBA. That it's somehow been garnering better. Don't ask me why, but for the last how many years it's been more interesting. It's not always the same teams going there. So it's like, so it's not cliche. It's not the same stuff over and over again. But be that as it may. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. All I know is I'm on my way to work and I might be late due to that accident I just passed about a couple minutes ago. So that being said, I'm gonna do it for here. This is your Island Blader speaking. Deuces for now. Sorry if my words were a little jumbled and whatever, because I don't always know what to say. Anyway, deuces for now.